Welcome back. Thanks so much for rejoining us. This is Bryan Vogt. I'm the host of Ready, Set, Sold, and with me is Dave Hoye and Devin Rust of New American Funding. Hope you're having a great weekend. One of the things that we kind of left off with before was the fact of again, having that knowledge, having that understanding, working with family and friends, and how that can be a concerning thing. And I would imagine the same thing is, not that you don't want to work with them, but the idea that you, Deb, you're getting into some personal situations sometimes. You're getting into that financial thing. How do you guys handle it? How do you handle it, especially when it is a family member or a friend and it gets a little bit maybe concerning?
Yeah, quite frankly, I mean, and this is just how I am in life, generally, is just you got to take emotion out of it. Once you start working on feelings or, you don't want to hurt someone's feelings or anything. I mean, honesty is always the best way to go, and, just get the deal done. Everybody's got the same goal, and I think people lose that in the process of things. We all have the same goal. We want to get the loan closed. We want to get the house sold. We want to, do that.
Well, yeah, that's a great point, because I think that even on the lending side and also even on the real estate side, in the end, we are results oriented. I mean, that is basically how we're judged, and making every situation and making every home owner as happy and getting top dollar on a fast sale. That's definitely on the real estate side. I think on the lending side is making sure that that person is taken care of, and making sure that they understand what they're getting into, and that they don't have a bunch of gobbledygook that they don't understand. And sometimes this happens. We've had experience. It doesn't mean the .com companies, lenders out there, don't have some success records. But on a personal note, many times that is a concern, and the concern is if something minor, even as simple as something different on the closing statement, that getting that response time versus having the lender there or having within a phone call away to get it taken care of can make the difference between closing that day and not closing that day. And it seems like when those things happen, Friday is the day when the closing doesn't take place, and so now everything's pushed back to Monday, and it just is a bad situation.
Sure. Right.
So, I mean, I think that's probably one of the benefits that you guys talk about a lot, and, that's what we like, working with local lenders becomes so important. And I think also the fact, because we're team-based, I have realtors that work with me and transaction coordinators and what have you, but you guys are team-based too, and that's a little unique in the lending. Is that true, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. The team part of our dynamic and also our company is really kind of what makes me most excited about what we do and helping people and how we can go about it. The personal touch, speaking about experience again, Deb and I have done it for a long time, and again, that's not everything in this business, but having seen how things don't work and how things do work, and kind of creating that atmosphere, where the client feels completely at ease with us from start to finish. We walk them through the process. We meet them in person. We have local processing and underwriting, so the decision's coming quickly. The customer's in the know and knows exactly what to expect on a daily basis. That's a huge advantage over, your bank or the person that they're used to dealing with that's, not going to return their call for 3 days. They're not working on the weekends. Things move rapidly in our side of things, so it's just good to have a grasp on it and make sure that client or that person sitting across from you is getting the best service possible.
Yeah, and your .com people, the problem is they'd have nothing to lose, so they have a bad transaction or a transaction that goes south, so they've got Joe Blow and wherever mad at them, they don't care, whereas we do, it's going to get back, we're local, everybody that we work with is local, they're our family, they're our work family, so the last thing you want is to have anybody get a bad experience. And customer service is just one of the things that New American really drives home.
And I think that's the same thing too, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but one of the things that having an experienced agent that has that background, that's been doing this steadily for a period of time, 7, 10, 16 years like myself, 20 years like you guys, and having a proven track record, the funny part about it is there are bumps in every transaction.
Absolutely.
It just is. If somebody tells you they're going to sell your home, it's going to be a perfect situation, I will tell you they just haven't sold any houses before, okay? They just haven't. There are things that come up, and same thing on the lending side. And the difference, though, is from an experienced agent than a non-experienced agent and experienced lender and non-experienced lender is, it's just a bump. It's not the end of the story. And on the real estate side, we have seen so many times inexperienced agents that run these red flags that scare the sellers half to death. They get everything riled up, and now everything it's kind of like the sky is falling situation. And sometimes they have driven the home so much that they've actually broken up deals.
Correct.
I mean, it's crazy. You guys, I know, being on the lending side, you've heard some of the stories on the real estate side too, that they really mess things up. And so that experience, that understanding that, look, let's take this one thing and we can work around it. And I think that's really the thing that is so important on the lending side, because there's so many different facets you can go. What's the best choice? And I think, Deb, you probably had fantastic amount of experience with that.
Absolutely. There's a lot of moving parts, and I tell people, all the time, it's not you, it's not the property, it's just everything coming together perfectly. And you can't get down about something if there is a bump or if there is whatever. You just have to work around it.
No, and that's a good point. And again, that's the same thing on the real estate side, because one of the things is a transaction. And on the real estate side, and this is one thing that I love about you guys, that especially in the Metro East and O'Fallon, Shiloh, and Carbon, all those areas that we service, Columbia, Waterloo, all those places, there is a timeline when you have to have final loan commitment. And too many agents, and yes, I'm going to say too many lenders, ignore it. And that can be a deal breaker. And what that comes down to is 10 days before closing, you have to be able to show that you have proof of funds, that there's no other options, no restrictions, and you can close the deal. And just having that, and that's why having that speed that you guys have is so important. So that's a big thing on the real estate side too. As a seller, hopefully your agent has also told you too. Hey, we're running out of time on this segment here. We're going to be going to our wrap up and be talking about what we're going to be talking about next week. I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be some interesting stuff. Want to go back to the book and let you know that you can get it absolutely free, no strings attached. If you're just thinking about selling, if you're thinking even 2 years down the road, you've talked about it this morning at breakfast, go get the book, ReadySetSold.org, not .com, ReadySetSold.org, not .com. Get the book. You'll be glad that you did. With that said, we're going to recap what we talked about already and also what's coming on next week's show, and I think you'll be really interested to hear that. You're listening to Bryan Vogt at Ready, Set, Sold.